Welcome back to Dyson Sphere Program. My name is Nilaus and we are having a bit of a design setup today. So this is we are back at Everlist. Everlist has been was our first mining operation and also had all of the access to thermal power. But as you can see here, we are transforming it into a smelting planet. That's not what we're going to do today. We are going to use this planet because it doesn't have any hydrogen or deuterium in anywhere on it. So this is a great place for us to revisit the fractionator setup. So my objective is I want to make a fractionator setup that under all circumstances is delivering the absolute maximum possible, the theoretical max, which will also be the practical max. So I did that in an earlier video, and it sort of performed like 15% below the theoretical max, and I was like, that's fine, and it was fine for mid game, but it's not fine for end game. We want to get the maximum out here, if for no other reason than just because we like it. So what the first thing we need to do is we really need to understand how the pylons work, because they didn't quite work the way that I thought they would work. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to build a little setup that we can use. I'm going to use the slowest belts because they are, and let's see, make sure that we don't do it there. Because that makes, if I use the slower belts, then they are much more likely or much easier to see what is going on. Yeah, actually we can't use it here because that's already full. We just put this in here so that we could grab things. So let's build another one instead. Yep, thank you. Here, we'll build it here. And I will have hydrogen, but I will then administer how much hydrogen comes in. There we go. And as I said, we are going to get a belt out here, and then I'm going to make a little space. There. And a power pole needs to go here. Alright, so what we're doing now is, what I want to show is, if we have like 3 plus 4, that becomes 4 plus 3 when it goes through here. But what is really interesting is that, and we're going to do a few cases here, if I do 3 plus 3 plus another 3 plus, you guessed it, 3 more, and then after that we do 4 plus, well, just everything else. All right, so what is the expectation that we can see here? We see 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, and then 4 the rest of the way. I was actually thinking that it would be like coming out as 4 plus 2 and then 4 plus 2, but that's not how it comes out. Let's have a look at how it works. 4, 4, 4, nothing, and then moving on. So that means if it's possible to stack it up to 4, it will stack up to 4, and that means it'll be empty after that. That is super important to keep that in mind, but it gets even better than that. So we are going to show you another example, just so that we are all clear on how it works. I'm going to send 3 in, then I'm going to send 4, then I'm going to send 3, then I'm going to send 4, and I'm going to send 4, oops, 4 again. And I'm going to send 4 again. Then I'm going to send 3. And I'm going to send 4. And then I'm going to send that's a 4 again. And then the last 3. And then the rest is just there. 4. Right. 3, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3. Alright. So what does this do? Let's see. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and a space. So that means it can keep track of it, and it will always stack up to 4, and then it'll, so if you have 2 or 3, it'll always stack up. If you have 1 plus 2, then it'll only stack up to 3, obviously. If 2 plus 2, it stacks up to 4 and then becomes an empty. So it'll always try to have empty slots. The great thing about this is we can use this to our advantage to make sure that we can actually get this loop around. Let's do that. Let's try to show that. Because if it's either 4 or empty, that's good. That is excellent. Just going to make sure that we have something about here. And that means if we have a loop around, this, And again, I'm still using the slower ones here. And I'm going to get a power pole somewhere here. And if we then take everything out at stack 4, it goes in here. All of these belts are slow. Oh, we don't have anything. Let's make sure that we get a bit in there. All right. Did someone come pick it up? Yeah, something got picked up. And we will now see this one. And sometimes this one can get in a weird situation where it's not doing here, but it's doing that part instead, and it kind of gets output constrained for some reason. But this is looking good. What we want to see at this point is that we want to see when this one stacks up, and then when there's an empty slot on the belt, there would be an empty spot coming out here, and then another one will be pushed in from the side. There we go. That was perfectly timed to what I wanted to show. And that means it maintains the maximum. This maximum should be 440 per second. But since it is transporting at 6 per second and frame rates and all that stuff, I don't know, it both fluctuates up and down. But what we can then see, if we update this part here to tier 2, then this one should have a theoretical maximum of 2880. And you can still see that this moves in and out once in a while, just gets pushed in here. There we go, put it in. And what about if we then get it even faster up to the maximum here? That is, you can see it now moves a bit quicker. And what does this one go? It is hard to dock at 7,800. And you would think that's enough. But unfortunately, if you make a long line of these, it doesn't quite work like this. For some reason, and I can't really explain why, sometimes some of them slip by. And when they slip by, then it actually, because it can only sort of put one in here. This side loading is not 100%. I really wish it would sort of trickle down, but I built a big setup here. It's exactly like this, because it's easy to build this kind of setup. I'm actually going to build it. We're going to build it, and we're going to build the other one as well. So let's build the design that uses this functionality. It's good. Oops, that was, yeah. As the frame rate drops, it's really difficult to place things correctly. That's my excuse. I'm using the frame rate as my excuse for being one tile off. There. That's all that. And we're going to be requesting a bit in here. Whether you want to proliferate this is totally up to you. Obviously. Nope. I like proliferating it in this case because this is just showing that it is the theoretical maximum we want to make. So I'm going to get a belt out here. And I'm going to make sure that we have a stockpile here. I'm just going to make it at that point. And then there. So we now have proliferation also taken care of, and proliferation should be coming in here. Well, it's coming in now. There we go. And then the question is, okay, so how do we want to build this? Well, if we start by making a loop, we're probably going to move it a bit later on, but let's see. It's going to be a loop that is here. Let's say like it goes out and around. And yeah, and then from that side it is there. And then I'll get a stacker or a splitter, which can be put right there, which will then feed in from the side, and I can put a little power pole here, and I can put a power pole over on that side as well. And this one can then move on to, well, the next one. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. That will be, this will be the location. Nope. This will be location. And goes out of this. It's really hard to place these. And on this side, I go back in and then merge from the side. Side loading. And we go. Return belt. There we go. That should work, right? And let's see. I think they might have issues. Yeah, it will have issues. Like that. And then we spam it all the way down. And we will see that if I did it correctly, is going to be 24. Yes. So if we look at this 24, then each one of these, when we're operating at full speed, is 720 per minute inbound, and that means outbound it is going to be 2% of that, so that is 144 per minute times all of that, blah 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 blah. That means this whole thing will be doing 57.6 per second. That's a lot. That's why we need 2 belts outbound, or we need to do stacking. So let's see if that actually works. I'm gonna just request stuff in here, and let's get it in here and see how that works. I'm also, while we're at it, building another one. How do we not place it correctly? Yeah, I guess. Alright, so the first ones, let's see. Are you working? You're slowly getting up here, but since we don't have enough input here, then we have issues. I can just top this up, just so that we actually don't wait for it. There we go. And we should see this one approaching the saturation limit here. This is 7,200 is going to be the maximum. And when we had one, oh, this is really close. There we go. That one has now saturated. This one is saturated. And we now need to go all the way down here to let the rest of it saturate. Okay, so that's also done. And now we want to see that it goes all the way down here. You can see the last one just doesn't have anything. And this one barely has anything. But it will be pushing out. It's pushing in here with, what is it? 120 per second. And it's only consuming about half of it. So it should be pretty quick to saturate all the way down. We can see this is looking good, and this one's also now good. This one's slowly getting better, slowly saturating. And we're even seeing the last ones. I want to get to a point where everything is saturated so we can see what it's like. And then we can look at the production statistics for it as well. Going down here, this one is good. Now that one's good. And then we just need the last bit. Very, very close. But you can see this, it's always still a long way to go. And now it's starting to really push up towards the threshold. And now we see the problem here. You can see here, some of these are slipping by. That didn't happen when I only had one. But somehow at the end of the line here, it seems to happen more often. And even though the belt is saturated. So this is good. This is not good. It's going back up. Yep. But they all just kind of trickle down a bit. And then if we now go to our statistics here, looking at that's what we want to see. In the last 10 minutes, let's look at a 1 minute cycle here. Consumption 3000. What should it be like? That's a weird number, isn't it? It should be 7,200 per second and per minute for each, times 2%. That's 144 per minute, times the fact that I have 24 of them. That is 3,456 should this number be. Well, that kind of fluctuates a bit. Over 10 minutes, it hasn't stabilized yet. But this is 3,456 is the number here that it should be. And it's really hard to say if it's a bit over, a bit below on this one. Here, these are looking good, but you can also see, like, when we just go in here, you can see it drops down. So it's, even though it should be at the theoretical max, it isn't. And that's what's bugging me a bit. And therefore, we are going to do, this is a good setup, by the way. It's a really good setup, but if I'm saying theoretical max, then it doesn't make sense for me to sort of go like, yeah, kind of. So once more into the breach, my friends, once more. So I'm going to do another kind of design here. This design is relying on splitters to do the work for us. And it's going to take a bit more space though. That's the catch for this build here. Is it though? Yeah, not in that direction. There. Yes. And that's also kind of important. And I will go a power pool here. And I will also take this line back again. And then this is important. It must be saturated from here. Now it is actually stuck. There. So what we're seeing now is we, instead of pushing it in from the side loading, we are doing a priority splitter instead. And the priority splitter does have a little bit of a buffer, and that means it can maintain this part more accurately. I would like this one up here to run out. It is probably easier said than done to have it run out because all of this is working. But we'll just try to let it run out a bit before, so we can compare numbers. And this is... yeah. And that is as close as we can make it. And it goes out of here, in there, into that one, into that one. This will be a priority splitter for that. And then it gets fed in from the side. All we need to do now is get the return belt. And that's the return belt. And then we can do a copy paste of this if we like it. I think we do. That one, use now. And then the thing is, I can't build it here, which is the same location as the other one, but I have to build it one out because the splitter actually takes a bit of space. So that means we are going to get a bit less of these. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. 10 is a good number. So that means in this build we have 20. Oh, it's actually building here. So I need to... dismantling this one is easier said than done. I'd really like to dismantle it, but I also really don't like to do that. So what I'm going to do is, as we build this one here, I'm going to have the other one just emptied. Because I want to make sure that I measure only the new one, but I don't want to destroy the old one. So this one, let's first just look at it as it saturates. And it goes in. It's going to saturate faster than the other one because the other one had 24 and this one only has 20. So it's going to get quicker in saturation. And then what we should look for is down the line here. Do we have anything once it is saturated? Will we have anything once the main line is saturated as well? Anything that sort of slips by and there's a glip on this belt? There really shouldn't be any glips on this belt. But we wanted this belt to be stacked up. There we go. Now it's stacked up. All these things. Do we see any glips on this belt? We should not be. Please don't. And these are now rock steady at 7,200. Alright, so I noticed a few issues here. So first of all, I started this one before I had the proliferators in. That means it filled up with non-proliferated hydrogen. That meant that the numbers were skewed. Also, I had to just deconstruct it and reconstruct it. I also noticed that the reason why this part was actually slightly over our maximum expected number was because down here I had the single one that was still running, so that added a bit to the numbers as well. Now at this point we've disabled completely the top up here. This one is saturated completely, so that should be good, and they are all sitting at the 2% because it's triple proliferated and it is saturated completely everywhere and it stays saturated. So if with that being said, we are going to look at the production statistics, and this is the production statistics over 1 minute. And the theoretical maximum, what it should be at, is 2,880. And of course, because it is a 2% chance, then it will be a slight variation from that. But what we're seeing is it will be very, very close to that 2,880. It might be dropping a bit below, others might be a bit above as well. But this is probably the design that I would recommend. It delivers 48. Is it 48? Why did I get 48? Yeah, 70. Blah 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 blah. Math. That is 144 for each per minute. So what is that per second? That is 2.4 per second times 20 of them. That is 48. Yeah, it was 48. Okay, I remembered 48. So this is supposed to be building 48 per second, and you can see the belts over here are pretty close to full. So it looks like it's working, but it's definitely not completely saturated. So that is the design that I wanted to show today. Like, this is definitely an improvement to the one I built before, because this one is going to be completely steady. Did we see that dropping theoretically 1 down on a 1 second? Oh, look at that! But it is pretty good. It is the maximum. Damn it! Don't tease me with a 0.01% off. Here, so what we have here, and what I actually should be seeing is, are these splitters? Yeah, those splitters are set as they should be. Good. So that was a bit of a little design episode today. I hope that was interesting, and you now have an improved version of this part, the fractionators. At this point, I would say there is absolutely no reason ever to use the particle collider. This is so much faster, so much more power intensive, and well, damn effective. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, be sure to hit the like button. It helps me a lot with the visibility of videos on my channel. And of course, if for some reason you're watching all of this and not subscribed, consider subscribing to the channel for more content of both the Dyson Sphere Program and lots of other games as well. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care and stay effective.